Most people believe they need more motivation to change their financial situation. They think they're stuck because they're tired, or unfocused, or not disciplined enough. That's not the real problem. The real problem is that motivation is unreliable, and the system most people live inside of requires constant energy just to maintain normal life. That's not freedom, that's maintenance. From the outside, most lives look fine. Bills are paid, work is steady, nothing is falling apart. But nothing is really being built either. People confuse survival with progress because survival takes so much effort that it feels like movement. Well, it isn't. Most people are busy, not advancing. They wake up already tired, not because they're lazy, but because their energy is spent maintaining obligations instead of building leverage. That's why motivation fades. Motivation doesn't disappear because you lack ambition. It disappears because your effort isn't compounding. When effort doesn't compound, the brain slowly disengages. At first, you push harder, but then you distract yourself, and then you normalize dissatisfaction. Well, eventually you say, that's just how life is. This is where most people get stuck. They believe the answer is a better routine or more discipline or another productivity hack. But productivity doesn't fix structural problems. You can optimize a broken system forever and still go nowhere. Most financial paths are designed this way. They trade time for money. They reward consistency, not ownership, and they require your presence to function. If you don't show up, the system doesn't work. That's dependency. It's subtle at first. A paycheck feels stable. A schedule feels predictable. Benefits feel secure. But over time, that predictability becomes a ceiling. The problem isn't working hard. The problem is working hard inside a structure where effort resets to zero every day. Nothing carries over. When your income is tied directly to your presence, your future depends on your endurance. And endurance has limits. That's why burnout isn't a personal failure. It's a structural outcome. The system asks for more energy than it returns. So people cope instead of change. They scroll, they numb, they distract. Not because they're weak, but because their effort doesn't lead anywhere meaningful. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most people don't actually want freedom. They want relief. Freedom requires responsibility, uncertainty, and delayed rewards. Relief just requires escape. That's why distractions scale so well. They offer immediate relief without demanding change. And as long as relief is available, real change gets postponed. This is why motivational content feels like good and then it fades. It speaks to desire without addressing structure. It tells you to try harder in the same environment that drains you in the first place. That's not transformation. That's emotional recycling. Real financial progress starts when effort stops being the focus. Structure becomes the focus. You stop asking, how do I stay motivated? And start asking, does this effort compound or does it reset? The question changes everything. Compounding effort looks different. It's slower at first, less exciting, less visible. But it builds something that exists even when you're not present. Ownership compounds. Skills compound. Systems compound. Time-based labor does not. Two people can work equally hard for 10 years. One builds assets or leverage. The other builds experience that only pays while they're present. From the outside, their effort looks identical. From the inside, their futures are completely different. This is why advice that ignores structure is dangerous. It places responsibility entirely on the individual while ignoring the environment they're operating in. Effort matters, but where you apply it, it matters more. Most people apply effort where it's immediately rewarded, even if the reward is temporary. Very few people apply effort where the payoff is delayed, not because they're incapable, but because the system around them doesn't encourage patience. Bills are immediate. Stress is immediate. Expectations are immediate. Long-term thinking feels like a luxury when survival takes priority. That's the trap. When survival consumes all your energy, freedom becomes theoretical. This channel exists to strip away the confusion. Not to tell you what to do. Not to sell you a shortcut. But to help you see clearly. Because once you see the structure you're in, you stop blaming yourself for outcomes it has designed to produce. And clarity creates better decisions than motivation ever could. If effort isn't compounding, something has to change. Not your discipline, not your mindset, the structure.